Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasrabi. Thank you for joining us today. It's Tuesday, February 10th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, where we come live every week to take your questions about U.S. immigration law Q&A, general educational purposes only, not intended as individual legal guidance. For that, we got to sit and talk, have a private consultation. To schedule a private consultation, you go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. And there you can fill in the box with your info. We can talk privately because there's just so much little pieces of information we need about you to be able to provide advice. But we do come here live for general stuff to give you an idea of what's going on in this wild immigration system that we have that you all are going through. Now, we don't handle every case. We don't do asylum or court cases, but we give you an idea of what we're seeing on a day-to-day basis in the immigration space. We've been doing this for 5 years. Very popular show because we get so many questions that pop up. And so please shoot out your questions as they're coming. I do want to let you know that we have a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. If you want to download that, it's free, 70 plus pages. Go to jqqlaw.com. I'm sorry, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's it. We had a special website for a special URL. Go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You probably don't need the W's in there. You just type in marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And from there, download the guide. You can also download our Ultimate Naturalization Citizenship Guide. This is for people who are going to apply for you. You can download that guide. Go to our website, jqqlaw.com/citizenship. That's jqqlaw.com/citizenship to download that guide, and then schedule a consultation after that, and we could go into detail on your case. We have one of our first questions popping up right here. Malik asks, sir, what is new about VAWA in 2026? So a quick heads up, I think the internet's like he's shutting in and out, so we'll see how bad or good that thing. Very frustrating with the internet's not working, but it's all right. But VAWA is called the Violence Against Women's Act. Now, it's not intended just for women, men can too, but this is a sub area of that statute that was passed by Congress that said if you're a victim of some serious crimes, victim of abuse, for example, by U.S. citizen spouse or U.S. citizen child or something, you file for a green card. The number of these cases has grown exponentially in the last few years. From 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 5,000 in a very short period of time. And because of that, the administration has finally said, and it's part of their plan all the time, to start cracking down on these cases. So they announced in 2026, they're going to review these, particularly for their cases where there's been a big, for example, husbands who are getting abused, where historically they wouldn't see as many numbers of these happening, or maybe parents of citizens are seeing more of these than there used to be more strict on them. So we're getting questions on TikTok because it's connected to my phone, but the internet itself is having some issues. We keep cutting in and out on YouTube. For those watching there on Instagram, I'm sorry. I wish it would work better because we'll see what happens with the internet connection with that one. But shoot out your questions. This recording will be made public later. Afghan Wolf asks, good afternoon, sir. I have a question. Can I speak about my case with you, sir? You cannot speak about your case. This is not intended as individual legal guidance, Afghan Wolf. You can generally ask questions about the immigration process, and we give general information, but I can't speak about your case. This is not the place for that. We need to talk about your case. We need to sit privately and talk and get to know each other, what's going on. That's a way to do that. Okay, let me set it up. We got some questions popping up right now on YouTube, and let me figure out the best way I could read these because I have too many screens open. Joel Boy says, sir, what about us in Africa? I have a wife in USA. I can't relocate to US. Well, there's a lot of bans right now for a lot of African countries. You can start the process. When things are going to move forward, when they're going to open up, I don't know. It's up to the Trump administration. The winning asks, hey, I'm a permanent resident of Canada and my I-130 petition is pending. My husband lives in the USA. Can I try for a tourist visa of USA if refused will affect my petition? Yeah, you could always try. You could apply for it. Will it affect the petition? Not unless you lie in it or something like that, or there's issues in the tourist visa application. For example, you say you're not married, but you are. Or you say you don't have a petition pending, but you do. So these are, as long as you don't mess it up, if it's denied, it's fine. But, I've seen people mess up really easy stuff. So I'd recommend having you probably should have an immigration hearing already for your I-130 petition to watch out for that. But also, just have someone you talk with just to double check on these things. because I've seen people mess up things for no reason before. That's why I'm sensitive to these mess ups like that from happening, or something simple should be simple like a tourist visa. Daniel asks, "Hey John, how long is too long waiting for the oath ceremony? What are our next course of action if you're waiting more than 120 days post approval and 400?" Well, it depends first of all what country you're from, because there are pauses right now for people of certain countries. You can always write a letter if you're not one of those country people to USCIS, the office that did your interview, and say, "What's going on? I haven't got anything yet." But if you really want to push it, you could sue them. Sue them because the law says 120 days past the interview. It's too much. Now your N400 has not been approved yet. It's been recommended for approval. People always say my interview went well, it's approved. There's no approval there. Once you have the oath ceremony, that's approved. SJ asks, any I-751 processing from POS countries that you heard of are POS additionally. They're all POS. All the Iranian or those countries like Iran are POS. Joe Boy says, can we start the process now because the American president? I hope I'll get it well soon. I don't know, Joe Boy. I need to see what's going on with you and your case, but you can start the process probably. Daniel says, not from a banned country. So yeah, I would contact the USCIS officer at your interview, maybe write him a letter, Daniel, and say, hey, is there anything we can do to help push things forward? And then from there, if you really want to push it, you can sue them or get a congressperson involved too, stuff like that. Joe Boy says also Nigeria. Okay, so Nigeria is subject to a lot of bans. So you can start the case, Joe Boy, but I don't know sure what's going to happen eventually. Evan asks, can you explain what happens after you get a 212F due to being an Iranian national? What's next if the bans lift? Will they go back to new an interview again? No one really knows what's going to happen with the 212F situation. These are people subject to various travel bans. Last time around, they would just close the case, but sometimes they go to administrative processing for a period of time. They're just making things up as they go along, so I don't have a definite answer. Essentially, what's probably going to happen is you're probably going to be stuck in administrative processing, and the next administration that comes around, we'll have to see how they want to deal with this. Some people, they may re-interview. Some, they'll just approve it. They'll say, do a medical checkup. But there's no real answer, frankly. It's just they're making this stuff up as they go along. Maya Y says, hello, sir. If you completed a medical exam in 2024, should you redo it in 2026 if the health condition did not change when you file 751? You don't need a medical exam for Form I-751. That's only for the adjustment of status case. So Maya Y says, if your green card has been approved already, you don't have to deal with the medical situation unless you have certain unique medical stuff that's way different for everyone else. But I haven't seen that before, but that's why I'd have to talk with you privately, see what's going on. But the medical checkup is for adjustment of status or through the embassy immigrant visa. The I-751 case doesn't require a medical checkup. The winning, yes, my file was applied in 2025 April, which is my priority. When can I expect my interview? It's the winning. Your priority date depends on what country you're actually born in. Check out the visa bulletin. I mean, it's going to be April 2025, but when they set your interview, I don't know. It's whenever they get around to your case. That could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be longer. Libwells, you're welcome, my wife. Libwells says, sir, how long does it take after an I-485 interview to get a decision? We see the notice of interview resolved with option 1 checked Atlanta field office. So it varies. There's no fixed time. Most of the time after the adjustment of status from I-485 interview, like a couple days to a week, my clients are approved. I've had it taken a few weeks, sometimes it takes a few months. And in some cases, it takes longer than that because either they lost the file or they start an investigation. So there's no fixed time. You could have an approval case, but they just take forever to do it. So it varies depending on the kind of case that you have and the officer that handles your case. What you can really do only is be very prepared for your interview, have all the documents ready, and just know you did well, and then leave the rest to see what happens with the government. Lex says, when should you follow up after an interview and home visit with after 8 weeks of no response, or just if you got a home visit, it's not a good situation. I don't think you could follow up whenever you want. I would usually that you'll just have to wait for the report. I don't know if following up will do anything. Dahlia says, hello, sir, any updates on the 75 country pause? No updates yet. Jason says, conditional green card but claimed asylum before. Can I travel back to home with my U.S. citizen wife? I don't recommend it. It's probably historically hasn't not been an issue, but under the current administration, I can't recommend that. It's too risky. Mario Y says, how's the situation with I-751 now? There's no situation. It's just the same, unless you're from one of the banned countries. It's just going to take a while, and you need to document it well. You're welcome, Daniel. Maya says when you file. I'm not sure what the specific question is about that one. It's just you got to do a good case. If you have a good case, then you're good. Queen says, is it possible to get a K3 visa with a pause going on Jamaica? It's almost rare, if ever, to get a K3. I don't think it'll be possible, frankly, to get a K3, but I could be wrong. Jason says, hi, conditional green card, but claim asylum. We already answered your question, Jason. Afghan Whoop asks, I'm waiting for my green card. I did an interview. Everything's already done. The last update. So based on your name, Afghan Whoop, you're probably from Afghanistan, and you're from a banned country, Afghan Whoop, so you're going to see a pause in whatever case that you have. My wise says, I'm not from a banned country. Well, that's good. So, just a regular case. You just have to have a, solid case. Afghan says 204 days before no update. Again, I said, because if you're Afghan national or born in Afghanistan, they're going to pause your case. Soap says, I've been waiting for more than a year since I applied for my wife I-130. Can you help? Probably not. I mean, I don't know what kind of case, if you're a citizen or green card holder, and how well you had the case, but waiting at least 12 to 14 months or even 15 months is average. There's nothing to speed up there. And it depends on what country you're from, if you're from on the banned list or something like that. And also, again, I said earlier, you're a U.S. citizen or green card holder. That could have a big effect on how long the case takes. Answer your question. Knitter says, which is easier to get, a green card for fiance or spouse? It's not, I wouldn't look at it as easier or harder. It depends on what your goals are and like what your plans are. Generally, marriage is better for most cases, but it depends on the facts of your case. If you just met your fiance yesterday and you get married the next day, it's not going to look good. Fiance visa is better for that. So I wouldn't look at what's easier. It's like, what is appropriate for you? And that's why we have consultations where we talk with you, your fiance, learn about your lives, your plans, your goals, where you want to be, and then explain the different aspects of the process, the pros and cons, and you make a decision from there. Kolpari says, hi, should good moral character letters be sent with the N400 form and also a medical note from doctor that you're not able to work due to surgery during 5 years since you didn't file taxes? We're not submitting good moral character letters and stuff like that. If you didn't file taxes and your accountant says it was fine, that's fine. We don't do extras. I haven't seen a need for it yet, but if that may change at any time. But so far, we haven't done anything differently than before these updates that the administration made. You're welcome, Jason. If you haven't already, please share your live feed, invite more friends to come watch and ask questions about U.S. immigration law. User 08 says, hi, sir, what is the duration for the pause? There's no duration. It depends on whenever President Trump feels like it. There's no fixed time. We get that question a lot, but I thought it was common knowledge that these are, whims of the government and the president. Yasser asks, how long does it take to process the DS-260 for diversity visa lottery winners from Africa with low case numbers? Well, the lottery program is paused right now. So how long it is, there's no processing of DS-260. It depends on the visa bulletin becoming current and having an interview and then approving it, but they're probably not going to schedule an interview with what the administration has done to try to shut down the lottery program right now. Dolly says, can you help with the pause? No. Husband already did the interview for IR1. It was approved, just waiting for visa to print. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's anything that can be done. They have like a special exception thing, but I don't really buy that it's going to work. But you could, contact them and say, hey, listen, please. Shiva asks, I'm from India and I had my N400 interview last month. Officer says pass the interview, but decision can't be made at this time. Baltimore, how long does it take to, how long they want to take, really? It's different. You could have two people go the same day, twins, exact same situation. One gets approved at the time, immediately, and has the ceremony the next day, or even the same day. And then another one takes months and they get denied or something. So not having reviewed your case, I can't say, but inevitably, it's going to be up to the officer whatever they want to do. Maya Waz says, I traveled with my conditional green card, came back January 2025. I have no problem then. If I travel now to Sweden again, are the rules changed for that? No, people are allowed to travel. The requirement is that you be residing in the United States. But if you're going on like a quick vacation or something like that, that doesn't affect anything on the case. Alejandro says, can you talk about the under 18 crime waiver? Not really. There's like this thing that just says that for immigration purposes, convictions under 18 aren't accepted. They just consider nothing happened or something like that. But who knows? They could still bother you about it. But criminal immigration matters are my specialty, so I don't want to talk about it. Suna says, does it help to apply for VAWA and adding sons petitioning? Not sure what you're exactly saying. Dino says, my mom got interview for IR5 visa. Embassy is asking for health insurance. So, you don't have what kind of insurance? They're trying to see if your mom could take care of herself financially. So you want to show your ability to buy health insurance, maybe get an estimate of it. See what they said exactly in their paperwork. but maybe get traveler's insurance and then show that you could pay for regular insurance once she's here. Maybe the cost breakdown should cost. Alejandro says, "Thank you. You're welcome." Dahlia says, "What is the exception?" You beats me. But they to give themselves the ability to win lawsuits in court. They add these, national interest exceptions in there, so you can tell the judge that on these bans that there's not a full ban. There's options for people who have exceptions, but in practice, it's just there for litigation's sake. But if you have some story that's good, you give it a shot. SJ says, so if someone is from a pause country and they get I-751 extension for 4 years, what happens then? Do you think it might change 2028? I don't know. I can't tell the future, but you got your extension. Your case is pending like supposed to, and just live your life. Dolly says, are you able to help the exception? No, but I don't take those cases. David says, good night, sir. What is the annual household income? Is my total income on 1040? I-45 question. What is the annual household income? That's, you would know what that is, however much your household makes, and that's that. I don't know what to tell you. How long does the I-212 take? I haven't done one recently, but like taking it from a year to 4 years as these waiver cases are backed up. It says travel health insurance work for IR5 visa. There's no requirement to have health insurance, and this is a new thing that's going to be starting with the administration. So I can't say it would help or it works because it's never been asked before. But if your embassy is asking for it, give it a shot, or asking if that works. To communicate with them, see what they said exactly in the RFE that they give you or the admin processing note. See what they want to get clarification. So I haven't done your case, and I haven't had any of my cases have that requested, so I can't base on the experience or things I've seen. But this is the kind of stuff the administration is going to be pushing. So you want to see, how much insurance costs. Kind of do the research on it. Jacob asks, is moving out me and my wife to a different address? Is it bad for USCIS? I don't understand what you're saying. Are you moving to separate addresses? Are you separating? And what kind? It depends on what kind of case you have, what exactly is happening, why you're moving. What case? This. I don't know the way you phrase the question. It's not possible to answer, and also it requires a lot of your personal information. Sudha says DS260 form all accepted, but case FE review note. Please submit W24. Can update new one. I'm not sure what your question is, but update it. So I would probably update 2025 as well, because you have it already. But update it, move the case forward. Quick note, if you're all interested in a marriage green card or fiance case, I recommend downloading a guide called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. You go to this website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, to download it. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And if you want to learn about naturalization citizenship, download our guide, the Ultimate Naturalization Citizenship Guide, at jqqlaw.com/citizenship. That's jqqlaw.com/citizenship. Emmanuel asks, my interview hasn't canceled twice. Should I be worried? Marriage green card. I don't know. I don't know your case, so probably not. But without knowing the details of your case, of what there would be to worry about, I can't answer that question. My OI says, I came back January 30th. I've heard nowadays IRS taking people from airports. They're cooperating with each other. What does that mean? I think you're mixing up a lot of different things, Maya. 100% recommend you have an immigration attorney that can help you. Obviously, a lot of questions you're asking, it shows a lot of worry. And that's the whole point of having an immigration attorney, is to ask these questions to help give relief. You're mixing up 3 different things altogether. So it's just better to have consultation, get some relief, talk with someone who knows what they're doing, and then take it from there. But just traveling, vacation when you're living in the U.S. is normal. Emmanuel says, I'll reach out to your team for sure. Emmanuel, thanks so much. Go to jqqlaw.com/contact to connect. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. That's where we get information from people to respond to them. But if we do their case type, if we have a consultation with them, that kind of stuff. And me also asked, the second part of my question was, do you think the lawsuit will be worth it to lift the pause? I can thanks to you in Persian. I'm a fan of your content. Well, thank you so much, Yasser. I appreciate that. Whether a lawsuit is worth it, I mean, it's up to you whether something's worth it. It's how much money you want to spend, and how much you want to deal with that. How important is a green card? So worth it questions, these are subjective. It's just, if you have the money, getting a green card is important for you. You feel you're having your rights taken away, give it a shot. Most likely the administration is going to win, frankly. But again, it's up to you how much money and time you want to spend on it. So I know you meant ICE, not IRS, but it could be IRS too. But if you don't have problems, I mean, I don't know why you'd be worried about ICE if you're just a green card holder living your life here. So that's, we want to talk to see where this is coming from, or this paranoia is coming from. Gopar says, thanks, Mr. Khosravi. Could you travel to Europe when your F400 is pending for 3 or 4 months? I am an Iranian, but hold Swedish passport and had 3 long trips, each 170 days during 5-year period. So your case already has issues. 170-day trips, 3 of them is not good. But in general, I don't know about your case, but in general, people could travel when their citizenship case for F100 is pending. Now, whether it's a good idea for you, whether you can show ties to your home country, all this kind of stuff is a whole other thing. And since you have an Iranian background, they're going to pause your case anyway, so your case is stalled. Noel asks, how long are BIA appeals taking, in your opinion, for a detained case? Well, I don't handle BIA appeals cases, but they're changing the rules on it, so it's going to be not much. They're just going to deny everything pretty soon. But I'm not a BIA appeal attorney, so I don't handle those cases. I don't have experience. Google 20 says, how is it going on asylum cases filed a year ago and still haven't been called to interview? So I don't handle asylum cases either, but how is it going just depends on, which officer you get. Some of them will have an interview a month after, 2 months after sending the case in. Some will take 6 years. Maya Wise says, people says ICE takes people with green cards and American passports to the airport. I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard that happening. If you have issues, ICE may take them, but it's not even ICE. CBP will detain them. ICE doesn't even need to do that. CBP, Customs Border Protection, is there. It's their job to detain. Maybe I don't see why ICE would even bother using the resources when there's other policing agencies there. Hey, yeah, Azim, good to see you. Long time listener. It's been 4 or 5 years. I think God bless. Hope you're doing well. So we only got a few more minutes left on the show for you to shout out your questions about U.S. immigration law, get your opinion on what's going on. If you want to schedule a private consultation, go to our website, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact, and ask your questions there so we can follow up with you. You're welcome, my wise. Best of luck in the I-751 process. Just make sure to timely file that case. You don't go too late, and that could create a lot of problems for you if you don't timely file the I-751. Removal of conditions. For those who don't know, the removal of conditions process is if you get a marriage green card and your marriage is relatively new, the government forces you to submit a new application 2 years later to double check and resubmit more evidence of your relationship so you make sure your marriage isn't fake. So they're very strict on these marriage green card cases to double check to see if people are lying about it or not. So the key to that is there's a filing window, a specific 90-day window you have to file the case. If you miss it, you're going to have problems. And then the case itself will take many years, many times to be approved. So there's a lot of stuff going on there that makes it a little crazy. But we have one more question. We have Veraso says, can asylee use their country of origin passport to travel to another country? Well, you shouldn't do that. Historically, they haven't enforced the law, but the law says that if you're an asylee, you should not use the protections of your home country, which includes their passport. You're supposed to request a refugee travel document and use that for traveling. You may need to get visas. Some countries may not allow you in. But by using the passport for your home country, it opens you up to have your asylum taken away, potentially your green card rescinded or taken away in removal proceedings, or even have your citizenship case denied in the future. This has never been enforced, so it's never been an issue that people do that. But under this administration, I would not risk something like that using the passport. I just wouldn't travel. I'd avoid it. Apply for the refugee travel document. It's going to take a long time, maybe over a year, and then you may need to get visas. So it's not very practical, but that's what you really should have in mind. All right, everybody, we're going to end the show a little bit short today. It's been a long day for me, but if you have 1 or 2 more questions, please shout them out immediately. If not, we'll come back to you next week at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. If you'd like to schedule a private consultation, go to jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. Hope to see you there. God bless. Bye.